Are the new red pill manosphere dating coaches getting a little bit worried about the passport bros? Well, it appears that some of them are, and to be honest with you, they probably should be. There are a couple of facts that maybe the most Americans don't really understand is that at the moment, I think it's less than 30%, maybe 35% of Americans have a valid passport. And so most people don't even have a passport. So you ask the average American, they haven't been to Hawaii. So the idea of going even to the Caribbean is foreign. But for the few Americans who've gotten a passport, and you travel overseas, and I got my passport when I was high school, so you just understand that life goes on outside of America. And so word of mouth, it spreads pretty fast. And there are a couple of simple stats that would make people think about just the passport bros and what they're doing. I mean, go to Wikipedia and look up the average weight of women in various countries, and you'll be surprised. I think I did it the other day, and I looked up Russia compared to America, and there was a 17 kilogram difference. So I think a kilogram is 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, I think. So that's about 35, 40, maybe 45-ish pound difference on average. And I'm in Japan, so that average is clearly different. And I think that when you talk about free market, I think that it's just natural. Guys are going to start looking for other deals, other places to go. And I don't necessarily have any opinions one way or the other, but I will say this. If you are the kind of person who's going to go from store to store looking for the best deal, I don't necessarily see any reason why you shouldn't do the same thing in the other situation, right? I could go a lot of places with this video, but I'll go with this one simple place here. One of the things I thought about when I chose to come here was what would happen in the event of a divorce? What would happen in the event of things going haywire and everything went wrong and I was fighting for custody? And I remember looking up, I did a couple of Google searches, and I remember seeing that on average, you're going to pay probably 10 to 15% of your monthly salary. And usually most women, they'll get the custody of the children, and they'll move back home with their family. And the man will most likely give up the custody, but he will not be financially impoverished. So I remember seeing that in this country, Japan in particular, and thinking, wow, that's woo. I don't have to worry about financial wreckage. And the thing is that if you look around the globe, there are just other options. And what the passport does, and I think Passport Brothers are seeing this, is allowing you to explore the other options. Because think about worst case scenario. Worst case scenario in each country is different. But worst case scenario in America is you can go to jail for not paying child support. You can go to jail for missing alimony payments, right? And I think if you're going to be at that level of risk, you certainly have the ability to say, well, if I'm going to risk this much, then I'm going to require or ask this much of the person I'm dating. And look, we can talk about alpha, beta all day long, but I live in a country where there are people marrying school teachers. There are taxi drivers getting married. There are regular men. Everyone's not trying to be a high value male. Everyone is not trying to be a millionaire. Some people are working regular jobs, and they're working and they're saving, and they have a wife who's working with them and cooperating, and they're saving together. And it's not a Hollywood movie, but it's more akin to what our grandparents did. Everyone's not trying to be a millionaire everywhere, all across the globe. Some people are just trying to make 50, 60,000 have a wife who works part-time, full-time, she makes 30, 40,000. You put it together, you have 100,000, and you have a very solid life for you and your children. And everyone's not trying to keep up with the Kardashians. Everyone is not trying to be, I don't know, what's the name of the girl with the pink hair, the McDonald's, I forget her name, but everyone's not trying to live up with the everything that they're seeing on the television. Some people are just trying to live regular lives. As a matter of fact, if you look across communities outside of the Black communities in America, they're living lives much more akin to what you would have seen 50 years ago. And so when you're telling the average guy, you got to do this, you got to make this, you got to save this, you got to build alpha frame, and you got a whole frame, and you got to have game. And for some guys, the simple question is, I'm doing all of that, and what is the prize for that? And the prize for that might very well be a divorce and alimony payments and child support payments and financial destitution or very difficult financial situation. And word travels pretty fast, and I think guys are seeing this. So game, and I think there's a place for game. Okay, sure. But I think the free market is a free market. And that works for your brand. It works for anything that you're selling. It works for anything that you're buying. It works in the dating market. And the free market right now is telling guys, explore your options. And if you're a dating coach in America, maybe what you need to do is turn the camera to American women and tell American women, listen, if you are not going to compete for these American men, you're going to have to look for another source of men. And if they're not willing to do that, the market will play its forces against such ideals, and we'll see in 10 or 15 years what the market does with that. So are red pill coaches worried about passport bros? Yes, you should be. And as a person who lives in Asia, I can tell you that, and I'm not even much for running after women, but what we're seeing on average here versus what I see on Instagram, women should be smaller than their men. I think Kevin Samuels talked about it. Women should be more cooperative. They should be nicer. And if they're not willing to do that, then the market is going to do what the market does. So yes, I'm not saying passport brothers could do one thing or another. I'm not saying red pill brothers should do one thing or another. What I am saying is there is a market, and there are some women that are more than happy to have a man that goes to work every day, saves his money, has a future plan, and is not a millionaire yet. There are women that will work with that guy. And all I can say to guys is, don't be afraid to look around for what you're looking for. Don't be afraid to look around and check the market, because there is a market for men who get up and go to work and are reliable. And even if you're feeling in America that there's no market for that, I can assure you, living in a country where taxi drivers and bus drivers and teachers and regular old train conductors, people are getting married, having lavish ceremonies, having tens of or dozens of people show up to their weddings, celebrate them, and they go home and live happily ever after. It is out there. So don't let anyone tell you that if you make the mean for your country, that you're trash. That is garbage. The mean worker in most countries are able to find a wife, they're able to get married, they're able to have a family, they're able to live the median lifestyle for that country, and they're not looked at as dusties. And if you're looking at a man who makes average or above the average salary, who gets up and goes to work and does his thing and has a plan for the future as a dusty, I would suggest that you prepare to take care of yourself. And if you are willing to work with a man, you can have that man getting up, going up to work, and pairing his salary with yours, and you can have a future with him. But if you see yourself as above that man, ladies, get ready to take care of yourselves. All right, that's all for today, guys. I'll talk to you next time.